Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel and to another chat with Kat, where in this one I'm going to be chit-chatting with you, and editor Catherine is going to be providing some interesting footage for you to watch, but it's not necessary for you to watch and understand what I'm chit-chatting about because they're unrelated. It is like watching those parkour Minecraft videos on TikTok while you're listening to drama. So, only there's no drama here, unless I'm the drama. I might be the drama. Alrighty, so I'm going to talk about the Great Lock-in. I keep hearing it on TikTok, and then I saw it start appearing on YouTube. And basically, if you don't know, this is kind of just like the end of the year, September to December lock-in where you just really focus up and go after your goals. So this year we've known of the 75 hard and all the different challenges that were going around this year. I think the Great Lock-in is just another challenge, only it's very loose and you get to set the rules. And I want to kind of mention some things that I tried other challenges before. So I think I tried like maybe a 75-day hard challenge and was like, yeah, no, this is not really going out well. And then Jenna Streetley came out with her video challenge that was her like 185-day insane challenge, which was basically like a change your life in 6 months. I believe that video came out like around May or June, and I tried it then. I made a whole video, I made a whole list, I filmed it and everything, and then like within a week or two failed the challenge. Um, and on the summer equinox, I again revamped the video and failed it again. So I am what we call a all or nothing girly, and I really have a hard time giving myself grace and being reasonable. I will like to come in and defend past Catherine and say that she 100% thought that she was being reasonable with her past challenges, which was basically to write for an hour and a half a day, read or edit my manuscript for 30 minutes to an hour every day. Apply for one job fully per day, meaning write a cover letter and send them everything that they're asking for, which this typically could take over an hour to 2 hours to do. Take my vitamins, medications, and drink 3 protein shakes per day, which is what my body needs just to function, and then any other protein that I eat is just an add-on for my body. Walk 10,000 steps, which is around 3 miles every single day, in addition to drinking 90 ounces of water every day, and journaling every single day. By journaling, I mean actively trying to work through something in my journaling, not just recording how my day went. I was doing the artist's way during this time as well, so the morning pages would count if I felt like I worked through something. In addition to all of this, it wasn't counted as part of my challenge, but I was doing the artist's way, which gives you about 10 tasks to do every single week, and you have to take yourself out on an artist date or make an artist date inside if that is what's better, and do the morning pages. As I mentioned, 3 pages in your journal per day. That was my revised goals. The original was, I think, like, write for 2 hours a day, edit slash read for 1 hour a day when it came to my book, and take the same amount of vitamins, protein, medicine, because I was gonna up those, walk the same amount, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so as I mentioned, I am a all or nothing girly. So as soon as I failed, like one day I was like, okay, I'm gonna double it and move it on to the next day. So I had to make up for the failed day plus maintain the current day's goal. And that is unattainable. So I failed. And after once or twice of this, I would give up on the challenge. So I would like to also come clean here and say that I've been collecting data of me failing these challenges for multiple years now. It's not just this year, it's multiple years. Earlier years, why I failed the challenge was because for a myriad of reasons. I mentioned that I had health stuff that was going on that I didn't know was taking from my just like overall energy levels, and that your brain takes a lot of energy to function and think creatively. And then also just I was suffering from burnout, and not just the, oh, I'm tired and I need to take a nap or I need to take a week off. No, like the medical burnout where you have to recover. Hence why I started the artist's way. I will like to specify that it was not a physical burnout, but it was a mental burnout. So I have been kind of collecting this data as I've been going through on why I keep failing these challenges, and finally realized that A, I'm an all or nothing girly, and B, I get discouraged pretty quickly, and then I avoid feeling that I have failed something. And C, I don't know what is a reasonable amount to do. Full disclosure here again, I will say that I had to work through a lot of like mental and emotional things as well. And I did have to break through, especially my main manuscript, Project Green, a lot of kind of my mental barriers on why I was avoiding my own story that I loved and things like that because of all those emotional reasons, which led me to journal and journal those out so then I could work through the feelings, but then I wasn't writing, which of course led to some self-doubt feelings of maybe I'm not a writer and I'm just more of a journaler, which was devastating because my whole identity is being an author. You're probably thinking, Kat, you're a journaler. This is your whole identity on YouTube. Yeah, on YouTube. And for context, I never had any self-doubt before. I never doubted that I was a good writer. I never had that imposter syndrome. And I definitely never had the question of, was I meant to be a writer? Ever since I found out that writing was a thing, I knew that I was going to be an author. And even though I was like locked out of the world of literature because I was dyslexic until I had to struggle and claw my way to read and write, I was a storyteller because I would memorize my stories and verbally tell them. So as you can imagine, this was a lot for me to have to process and work through, and just a lot of like downtime for someone who had other things on her plate as well, other external factors that were like kicking in and kicking my butt, quite honestly. And then also just like some creeping in factors that were from years past that I didn't deal with. But we're back and we're stronger than ever. I just want to take a moment to just acknowledge how far I had to come, not to pat myself on the back, but because this is what past Catherine would have needed if she was watching Author2 back then, because I was so depressed I wasn't. But for anyone out there who is having those kind of thinking of like, oh, I was wrong and I'm not meant to do this and I'm gonna give up on my dreams and I'm gonna get, quote, realistic or practical and just, you know, accept the corporate 9 to 5 that I don't want to accept. Don't do it. Just keep working. You're gonna get it. And if you're anything like me and you want instant gratification, I'm so sorry. It may not be instant, but you will get it. And hopefully that's enough for you. Back then, especially in 2023, I wanted to be working and writing on my book and having it unravel immediately. But I had to work through some of this emotional turmoil so then I could have enough peace and quiet in my head to start writing the book. And I also started writing the book, or challenging to write the book, while just writing down the general topic of whatever the turmoil was. I would write a brief line of having general feeling of maybe I was wrong, maybe I was too optimistic, maybe I'm too childlike, get a real job, even though I have a real job. So I would just write down the general idea of my journal as I was trying to go forward, and then I would address it later. Sometimes, depending on where you are, this works. Sometimes, depending on where you are, this doesn't work. And again, I'm only talking from my experience. I am not a therapist. I don't know on a clinical level. But I think it's really important that we acknowledge the struggle that we went through so then we can also acknowledge the accomplishment that we have now. Now is probably a really good time to specify that when I talk about writing, I am talking about creative writing on a manuscript. And when I talk about journaling, that is what you see on my channel, like the journals and things like that. And that's also why when I relaunched the channel, I started it off with journaling because it's fun and I knew I consistently did it compared to writing because journaling was working through everything that I had to work through. It wasn't dependent on me working through something in order to do it. So at the time of me re-recording this, because I yapped too long the first time, which I think is just to the par of me, I did start a lower challenge, which I called my Delulu Author Challenge, and editor Catherine is currently chipping away at that. She finished the first video while admittedly avoiding this video because she thought it was too big and too daunting for her. So you will see those videos soon, and that challenge was just to outline a novel. I don't want to give some spoilers, but I will say that I am happy with it. So I completed my great outline-a-thon that I actually planned on starting in the summer, but like I said, I kept failing that challenge. And I think it was just because, again, I put too much pressure. And so what I had to do in order to switch things around was A, lower the stakes. And I kept hearing this when I was asking other writers, like, I have a full-time job, I have these other responsibilities that I'm doing, I have these other curriculars that I have to do in order to progress my life at this point in time. And pretty much every single one of them said if you have a full-time job and other responsibilities, you need to lower your expectations of how much writing you're going to get done. And a lot of people in my sphere, I think, would be like, well, your 2 hours of planned writing a day is very, very small. You should be aiming for 6 hours a day. You should treat it like it's your part-time job. That's kind of like what I grew up hearing and the mindset that I had. I wasn't meeting myself where I was at. I was meeting myself at where I wanted to be, if that makes sense. There's a huge difference. I want to be a full-time author one day. That is my dream goal. That's also a lot of other people's dreams goals. And what sets you apart from someone who just has that as a dream and someone who lives that dream? Consistency. Consistently showing up for yourself and showing up for yourself as you would for other people. And that's an issue that I had, and one of the things I worked up that I was working through when I tried this challenge back in 2023. Though I didn't name it the challenge, I was trying to consistently work on my novel, and it would be so painful that I would avoid it. So I am pivoting and I am participating in this great lock-in. I have made my expectations out of myself accordingly to where I am at now and not where I am and not where I want to be. Before, I wasn't accounting for the fact that I had to go work for 9 hours, and that's counting my unpaid lunch, and then also that I would need recovery time from those 9 hours of work on certain days. So I'm going to talk about my goals and then my ghost goals. Goals and then challenges. So my goal is to write in a manuscript for at least 30 minutes a day, and it kind of killed my all or nothing personality to write that down because I was like, wow, that's not a long time. But the challenge is to write in it for at least 45 to 60 minutes a day. If I can just knock out 30 Or even if I wanted to make this goal more achievable, so then I don't continue the avoidance process that I've been falling into, then I could just say, did I write at least one word, or did I even open the document and do something that was progressing me? And if that answer is yes, then bam, I wrote for that day. I will say that I can do this because I trust myself enough not to just open the document and be like, well, I opened it, because I am well aware that the book is not going to write itself, and I'm well aware that I can't be lazy with something that I claim is my dream. But this is where I'm at now, and the goal can also shift. And remember, I'm only having this goal until December ends. I will also, again, I'm fully transparent here and fully disclosed. I am probably going to add more things onto this challenge as I feel like that I can, or I might take some things off of this challenge. As it stands right now, here are the main ones. So I am going to write. This just means 30 minutes of writing, 30 minutes of doing something that is progressing the story. While before, I had editing and reading as separate categories. So all of this is writing. So I broadened my definition of what is writing and what is not writing. The other category that I drastically changed was walking. So basically, this is, did you walk today? And it is kind of the, if you had the chance between taking the elevator or the stairs, did you take the stairs? And if the answer is yes, then I walked today. The vitamins and the protein and taking my medicine, all of those are the same. It's just a check off. Did you do it? Did you not do it? For the category of water, I've also just yoinked off any number attached to it. And now it's just, am I making a conscious decision to try to drink more water throughout the day to stay hydrated? Eventually, I will add in, like, am I getting 90 ounces of water? That was super easy for me in the past to do. It was one goal that I was consistently reaching. And then now it's getting harder. Again, I'm meeting myself where I'm at. I did have one goal, which I believe the very first time I tried it, it was 30 minutes of tidy up, which was like either downsizing or cleaning my house or anything. I have lowered that to 10 minutes of tidying just anywhere, and it could be like putting the dishes away or things like that. And I don't like set out a timer or anything because it doesn't have to be 10 consecutive minutes. I just round about. So if it feels like 10 minutes to me, then it's been 10 minutes. And I will say that maybe this is like the tricky one because I do feel like that time is way slower than it actually does. And the other category that I have is journal. So this is like pretty easy. So what I mean by journaling, because you're probably like, Kat, like your whole thing is journals. I mean, you're like in the 150s now. What do you mean, journal? And this means like journal about something that's difficult, not just about your day. Like try to work through something in journaling, or it can mean morning pages for the Artist Way. I will, again, full disclosure, full transparency here. I stopped on week 8 of the Artist Way back in July, and I have yet to pick it back up, but it is on the plan. Right now, if I have just journaled that day, then I'm counting it as a journaling win. The one category that I might actually cut out is video editing. So I found out when I was editing my I finished a journal in a day video, if I like edit for, a set number of minutes, not hours at a time, every day, and take the editing process and just like spread it out to multiple days, it's not as daunting and as bad on editing Catherine. Imagine that. Also, before I was just trying to tackle the whole video as a whole, I think this was because I was a little bit nervous about where the videos, like unfinished editing videos, were being saved, but now I figured out where it's throwing them, which, like, again, wasn't that hard to find out. It was just something that I thought was daunting because I didn't know off the top of my head where it would be and I didn't spend like the 20 seconds to go and like think about it and then look for it as I thought about it. But that video, when I just tackled, like, okay, I'm going to tackle the audio part now. Okay, I'm going to tackle the in-video text part now. And then, okay, I'm going to, like, tackle all the likes or ums that I'm going to cut out when it's a live filming Catherine who's talking. Now, that was way easier, and, like, not to toot my own horn, but I really like how I edited that video. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I'm a very novice editor. So, like, of course it's not going to be perfect. This category may get chopped. Another category that might be added back on is extracurricular work related, future related things. I'm not sure if I want to do that like every day or if it's just going to be a once a week thing. And if it does turn into a once a week thing, I think I'm just going to have a box that I'll outline once a week on my productivity tracker. And then even if it's like, let's say it's a Monday, even if I don't do it that Monday, but I do it sometime that week, then I can still check it off. I'll just have to play around with that until I figure it out, basically. Okay, so some ghost goals that I'm getting into in the challenge is giving myself a lot more rest days. It has come to my attention through the hardest way and therapy, after years of being told this, that yes, you do need to rest. You can't just keep bullying yourself to keep going, because eventually it stops working entirely. And eventually you stop listening to the bully and you just curl up and just lay there, curled up on the ground. You don't want to be your own bully. And I was my own bully for years, and then everything started crumbling, hence the kind of like crippling freeze that I experienced for multiple years. That and a lot of other legitimate things that were going on. But it was why I couldn't bounce back after handling that kind of adversity. So we're going to lock in and we are going to write for at least 30 minutes a day if we can. We're going to journal, and we're going to try to journal about things that we need to work through. We're going to take our vitamins, take our meds, drink our protein. We're going to tidy up. We're going to drink water with conscious decisions, and we're going to edit videos in a like time frame that makes sense for me that I will create. And then we're going to set aside to work on my future, which I guess you could arguably say that this is all the future, but anyway, I digress. And I do have a couple of ghost goals that are like a little bit harder to track, like whenever I allow myself rest time. And I'm not going to beat myself up for failing a day. I am just data collecting. And that's another mindset shift that I have had to make in order for this to fail or to succeed. And I'm also still working on breaking things down, like when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write this story. Well, if I'm just really stuck on this story, then all right, let's move to another story. Even though I'm like have no reason to be stuck on this story. So that's going to be my great lock-in. Let me know if you're participating in this great lock-in, or if you are like participating in just like trying to be consistent in something and just didn't even hear about the great lock-in. I want to know, what are you guys doing? How is it working out? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm always open to like keeping ourselves accountable. Maybe we can figure out like a way to do that if you're open for it. So let me just say that I know that a lot of my subscribers are the journaling community, and I love it. I love it. And if you guys are sitting there going like, this is a lot of like manuscript writing that you're talking about and not a lot of journaling, and oh, I'm a little bit worried about your channel when it comes to journaling, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm still going to have a lot of journaling videos. I'm just going to throw in some writing videos, as I mentioned on my relaunch. You guys will still be catered to. Don't worry. I'm just also going to talk about writing as well. I hope that you enjoy that as much as you do the journaling videos. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me. I hope you grabbed your coffee or your tea, whatever works for you. And more importantly, I hope that you always find a reason and an excuse to write. Bye-bye.